our Constantine, as I jumped into it, is not the comic book.
And
You
is
know,
this a big debate? I mean, obviously, a lot of it was made about you're not blonde, you're not British, it's not in London. Is that a big
yeah, we went
discussion point?
Hollywood. I had a black coat, right? The original one was like brown.
How dare you?
I mean,
Sacrilege.
honestly, what we did was we were like, we loved the spirit of Constantine, the story we came up with, and Keanu was playing a version of Constantine, but it was not sort of a copy of the comic book version. It was like we're not going to force him to be blonde. We're not going to force him into an English accent. We're not going to force him into the color of the coat. It's like what's our interpretation of John Constantine?
It's interesting because I feel like it came at a good time for you guys to do that because nowadays there's such a worry about the fandom and appeasing them first, the hardcore fans, which I respect. And look, we want the fandom to love what the interpretation is, but I think sometimes you can almost be too beholden and lose sight of the fact that it's
Yeah.
a different thing.
Yeah, I just think you don't want to be like locked into these parameters of being like so utterly reverent to a fan base for something that, it's just like you fall in love with a thing for certain ideas, but to like just copy the, certain cut and exact color of a coat is a
Right.
little weird. But,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Keanu, you
but
were
then
gonna say
we
something?
did
but the
piss off some
comic book, you
Hellboy
might
fans.
want to check out what midnight looks like.
Right. The also
He's
look the fact that you set this in LA, which I know Keanu was important to you. I mean, I think that also lends itself. Again, I go back to the trope that this, in many ways, is a noir. You might as well be. You're closer to Sam Spade or Philip Marlowe than a superhero in this. And I think the fact that you ended up shooting in LA adds to that vibe. Why was LA important to you at the time, Keanu?
No, I think that's a Francis question.
Well, I
Okay.
think I think we were one of the aspects I always loved about it was the noir side, was the noir aspect of the story. And so I was a big fan of, all those noir movies, whether it's like Third Man to, Maltese Falcon, to Chinatown, all of that, and read a lot as well, Jim Thompson novels, things like that. And so LA was and felt like the perfect spot to do a noir story, the sort of modern contemporary noir. Um, so we set it in LA, and we actually hired Naomi Shohan, who had done Training Day, the production designer. And I was like, she'll find us the nooks and crannies of an LA we haven't seen a lot of, and make it feel very sort of grounded and authentic, which she did. But I think what Keanu did for us, which was good and which was great at the time, because I certainly at the time would not have had the power to do this. This was at a time when studios started saying like, "Oh, great, your movie's set in LA, just go shoot it in Toronto."
Right.
And, and Keanu luckily just made it, I think it was even contractual, but he was just like, it's set in LA, we're shooting in LA. And the studio had to say, like, okay, great. And I was, like, yes. Actually, one of the two movies I've done that I've actually got to shoot at home, which is nice, but it should have been shot in LA, and we did.
This is using your movie star powers for good, Keanu. Well done.
Yes.
It shows in the finished product.